Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We've already finished our schedule previews for our way too early top 25 teams, but as promised, we're going to do a few extras. We asked you a few weeks ago to give us some teams that you wanted to see the schedule previews for. Some extra teams not in our top 25 that you wanted some analysis on, and we're kicking off that series today. We have a handful of teams that we're going to cover for the next week or so, and we're going to kick things off with the Miami Hurricanes. How about it? The U. Let's talk about it. Miami, very disappointing team in 2022. 5-7 in year one under Mario Cristobal. Everybody thought that the Hurricanes, with a really competent coach, might win 9-10 games, contend for an ACC title. They were going to be elite, and they were the farthest thing from it. It was a rough year. 2 one-possession losses, a 14-point home loss to Middle Tennessee, and a 42-point loss to Florida State. The Hurricanes were hit with inconsistent quarterback play. They were hit with a horrible defense, and they need a bounce-back year in year 2 under Mario Cristobal. The question is, can they do it, and will the schedule allow it? We're going to find out today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, because here at the Gridiron Expert, football never dies. The college football season never ends here at the Gridiron Expert, and we want you to become a part of the GE Nation. We want you to be here all season long. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button so you don't miss on any of our future content, including our official Miami prediction for the 2023 season. That prediction will be coming out in just a few months. We're predicting every single college football team. You don't want to miss it. So this is the place for you. Become a part of our GE Nation. So let's take a look at Miami's schedule, right? This is a big year, because here's the thing. The U is not expecting a bowl game, right? That's not the standard. That is the bare minimum. Some teams are just happy to go bowling. Miami will not be. Miami wants big time with 9, 10, 11 win season. They expect to contend in the ACC. The college football playoff, I would say, is probably out of the question. Probably not going to be there. But contending for a conference title, contending for a New Year's Six bowl, that is not out of the question. That is not too much to ask with the talent that Miami continuously pulls in, with the coach that Miami has. Can they get there this year? Well, you look at the schedule, I would expect Miami to have a pretty solid start. The toughest game, really in the first 5 games, is Texas A&M. And Miami, I think, is very fortunate to get the Aggies, first off, at home, getting to host Texas A&M, but also getting them in week 2. Instead of in week 3, week 4, week 5, somewhere down there. Texas A&M, obviously, like Miami, was a major disappointment last year. Who would have thought that last season? We knew A&M was fresh off their loss against App State. Didn't think they'd do too much. They didn't. They went 5-7. But the Aggies still found a way to lose to App State, and the next week beat Miami 17-9. The offense, again, couldn't get anything going against that Aggies defense. Now A&M expected to have a better offense, especially with the addition of Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator. Better talent coming in, solid recruiting once again by Jimbo Fisher. It's an interesting game here. This is going to be a great benchmark for both these teams. 2 disappointing 5-7 teams in 2022. Opportunity for both to get a quality resume-boosting win in week 2, gain some confidence, and show, hey, we just got a quality win this early in the year. It's off the races now. So that's going to be huge. That's going to kind of set the tone for Miami's season. If they can beat A&M, there's a chance they could start 5-0. Because really, the first ACC game, Georgia Tech, they're under new management. They've kind of played better towards the end of the year, but Miami beat this team by 21. They're getting to host the Yellow Jackets, and they're going to take some time to have to rebuild as well. So you beat Texas A&M, a 5-0 start is not out of the question for Miami, and by October 7th, they could have matched their win total from last year. Shows how big the A&M game is. Then the stretch gets tough. The next 5 games are brutal, right? North Carolina, Clemson, Virginia, NC State, Florida State. That is a tough stretch right there. 5 games. Miami played 4 of them last year. They went 1-3 against those 4 opponents. They lost by 3 to North Carolina. They lost by 30 to Clemson. They beat Virginia by 2 in 4 overtimes. Didn't play NC State last year, and then lost by 42 to Florida State, as we mentioned. So a brutal 5-game stretch there that will define Miami's season. That will show, hey, Miami's just going to be an average 6 to 8 win team, or hey, Miami's contending for an ACC title heading into the final few weeks of the season. It's going to be determined in that 5-game stretch. At North Carolina, well, it's going to be tough. Drake May's back, right? So they're having to go to Chapel Hill to face off against Drake May. This high-powered UNC offense is going to be interesting to see if Miami's defense has fixed itself, because if they haven't, they don't stand a chance on the road. Here, we're not predicting anything. But it's something to watch out for. The Miami defense wasn't that great last year. They're going to face one of the best offenses in the country. Something's got to give, and they're doing it on the road. Then you take on Clemson. How's Clemson going to fare? Miami gets to host them. Clemson's not afraid of Miami, not at least being on the road. They're not afraid of traveling on the road to play Miami. But the question is, how quickly does Cade Klubnik fit into this offense for Clemson? How quickly does Garrett Riley develop him? Does the Clemson defense stay about the same as they were last year? Do they get better? Do they take a little bit of a step back after losing some key starters, especially up front? Something to kind of watch out for a Tigers team that's looking to win their second straight ACC title and get back to the playoff. Because the expectation in Death Valley is not just win ACC titles, it's, hey, we want to be contending for national titles. And they didn't last year. Got blown out by Tennessee in the finale. But they did manage to beat Miami by 30 last year. It's going to be a pretty big swing for the Hurricanes if they want to pull off this upset. Then Virginia. Beat them by 2 and 4 overtimes last year. Obviously, Virginia going to be dealing with some key new pieces as well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Virginia was a pretty big disappointment in year one under Tony Elliott. So if Miami is playing great ball, they have a little bit of momentum, I would expect them to finally take care of business at home against the Cavaliers, but I would not rule out Tony Elliott's squad as being, competitive. And then at NC State, at Florida State, back-to-back road games. They did not play the Wolfpack last year. NC State kind of fizzled out towards the end of the year, had high expectations. Injuries kind of riddled them. Devin Leary now gone to Kentucky. So even though it's on the road, that's a very winnable game for Miami, especially the defense has improved. And then at Florida State, that's a team that we have in our top 5 of our way too early top 25. A Florida State team that is dangerous. Beat Miami by 42 last year. Yes, it's a rivalry game. Yes, I'd expect it to be a little bit closer this year. But Jordan Travis coming back, an absolutely loaded defense. The game in Tallahassee. If Miami is struggling in the slightest bit, it could get ugly once again at Florida State. So that's a tough stretch. In those 5 games, Miami, I think, would be very fortunate to come out of that with a winning record, to go 3-2. That would be a very fortunate outcome for them. Because the road game at Florida State is not easy. The road game at North Carolina is not easy. 5 games, 3 of them are on the road. One of your home games is against Clemson, who's going to be the ACC title favorite, more than likely. If it's not Clemson, it's Florida State. Either way, Miami has to play both. Tough stretch. Close out the year with Louisville on senior day, whatever you want to call it, and then at Boston College, 2 teams that are going to maybe struggle a little bit in 2023. Louisville certainly had a little bit of momentum to carry over into 2023. Jeff Brom, now the new head coach there, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly he gets that offense going, especially without Mikael Cunningham. Feels like it's been years and years and years since we haven't seen a Louisville offense without Mikael Cunningham. So that's something where Louisville could hang. Boston College, though, certainly going to go through a lot of tough patches in 23 under Jeff Hafley again. So, again, this is a Miami team, guys, that a 5-0 start almost feels needed to reinvigorate this fan base, to re-energize the fan base, to give them this optimism and this hope that, hey, maybe we can contend for an ACC title. A 5-0 start is not out of the question. The A&M game is key. The A&M game and that 5-game stretch we mentioned is key. And if Miami can find a way to go 3-2 or better in the 5-game stretch between North Carolina and Florida State, it could turn out to be a very, very special year in year 2 under Mario Cristobal, but at the very least, a much more improved year in year 2 under Mario Cristobal, and a much more fun year for the U fans who have suffered more than they should over these last few seasons. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, because again, here at the Gridiron Expert, guys, football never dies. Football never dies. It never ends. This is the place for you, and we want you to become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.